Mini episode 1694 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by Sportsology, delivering unconventional columns and webcasts about sports, TV, music, movies, and more. Follow them on the web at sportsology.com.
The FDH Lounge. You'll want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Hello and welcome to the FDH Lounge review of the year in pro wrestling. This is FDH Managing Partner Rick Morris here with our top 5 pro wrestling stories of 2023. Number 5, TNA Wrestling just won't die. Impact decided that the many trial balloons that they had raised led them to the decision to revert to their TNA identity. Now, the company is clearly looking backward with rose-colored glasses because for every success that they enjoyed in the 2000s and 2010s, there were at least 5 late-stage WCW gaffes that led to the promotion's nickname as LOL TNA. That said, the marketing decision by Anthem coincides with a renewed commitment to sign top talent. They may have lost out on Will Ospreay and CM Punk, but just knowing that they were in the conversation restored some credibility. Access TV isn't a big enough outlet to allow them to ever surpass AEW unless they lose TV altogether, which is unlikely, but the chance to become the undisputed number 3 company in America, under the TNA banner no less, in the year 2024, is a survival story that nobody would have ever believed possible until very recently. Like cockroaches and Twinkies, TNA may be the only survivors of a nuclear war. Number 4. The addition of Collision and one of the greatest financial and critical success shows ever, All in London, should have restored all of AEW's momentum, but no. Combine this with the success in converting cowardly heel world champ MJF into arguably the hottest babyface that the company has ever had via his Mega Powers level teaming with Adam Cole, the flushing out of the poison that came out of the last 16 months of a slow-moving, bitter divorce with CM Punk, an exciting Continental Classic tournament, the first high-profile round-robin U.S. event ever, the acquisitions of Jay White and Will Ospreay, and the elevation of new stars such as Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Takeshita, and Swerve Strickland, to say nothing of the reinvention of timeless Tony Storm, and you'd think that nothing could hold back AEW. But the continuation of 2022's bad luck, along with key injuries, along with lingering bad publicity from the aforementioned Punk divorce, as well as Jade Cargill's departure, ticket sales slowing down significantly, Chris Jericho's always prominent programs being widely viewed as having jumped the shark, and college football season relegating Collision's ratings to being more comparable to Rampage than even the fading Dynamite numbers, kept the company from taking a step back for every step forward at best. Those of us who really love the product have not soured on it, but growth beyond the hardcores is non-existent. The company must learn from everything that's gone wrong and, of course, lock in the new TV deal that they're counting on in order to restore the feeling from their creative peak in mid to late 2021. Additionally, Tony Khan has got to get back to the tagline that they used at All Out 2021 about being the home of professional wrestling. The comparison with sports entertainment was a winner, but it went out the window the minute that Jericho and his guys began embracing the term for heel heat. The first rule of marketing is to be number 1 at whatever you're at rather than number 2. Since Vinnie Mac has always aggressively rejected the term pro wrestling, embrace it and proclaim yourself the top dog in that business. Enough of this challenger brand, Burger King to their McDonald's crap. It's loser talk. Proclaim that you're the biggest and best in pro wrestling because it's true. Number 3. Vince's on-again, off-again departure doesn't compromise the WWE's success since he first left. His retirement in July 2022 in the midst of his sex scandals left many observers cynical. This is, after all, the squared circle business, and this is, after all, Vince McMahon. Sure enough, Vince fittingly picked January 6, 2023 for his uprising against the WWE board, forcing his way back in. By the time of Mania 39, Vince had put together a merger/takeover with Endeavor that supposedly ensured him a place in the hierarchy, and he wasted little time in wrecking the post-WrestleMania Raw. But then Vince's problems wouldn't go away, and Triple H was impressing the upper brass at the new TKO organization, and by year's end, it was as if Vince's attempted power grab had never happened. That being said, if Vince makes another attempt to regain the creative throne in the future and is successful, you could file that under Stranger Things Have Happened. But the longer the Triple H is able to keep things rolling, the more power that he'll have to keep doing things his way. Number 2. Notwithstanding a questionable WrestleMania 39 main event finish, the WWE stays on a roll with their best overall creative since the Attitude Era and a continuation of their best financial business ever. As much as Vince hates competition, the company's creative depths of the 2000s and 2010s prove that the WWE needs it to thrive. AEW wasn't able to light a fire under WWE right away because of the pandemic, but the conversion of Roman Reigns from cornerstone babyface flop to franchise heel that really took root by 2021 with the Bloodline set the stage for the company's latest resurgence. The arrivals of CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole in AEW in the late summer of 2021, along with the final stages of the epic 2-year Hangman Page-Kenny Omega storyline, appeared to pave the way for Dynamite to pass Raw in the ratings, which we had forecast on this show at the time. Instead, WWE tightened up its creative, as AEW had to deal with a host of injuries and CM Punk-related unrest that actually widened the gap in the ratings between the shows. But after having poached Cody Rhodes from AEW in early 2022 and given him the hero's welcome that would apparently culminate in him taking down Roman Reigns at Mania in LA, instead the company went with yet another screwjob finish, the way that Roman's matches always end these days, and they suffered a critical backlash in the short term. However, as business has stayed strong, even as Roman has largely stayed away, the gamble looks likely to succeed in creating the company's next huge babyface at Mania in Philly, providing that the company actually pulls the trigger this time, which it won't if Paul Heyman has anything to say about it backstage, allegedly. Number 1. CM Punk is apparently turning his suit-wearing phony persona from the first summer of Punk into a shoot. The angle where Punk threatened to ruin ROH by taking their world title to WWE, mirroring what Vince feared that Punk's hero Brett would do with the WWF title and WCW in 1997, was an incredible one, not least of which because it flipped the script with Punk's persona. The definitive anti-authority rebel was taking on the role of corporate kiss-ass in order to become the biggest heel on the indies on his way out. The second summer of Punk would launch in 2011 with Punk's pipe bomb that this time took the opposite tack, blasting the WWE establishment for holding back the kind of excitement that Punk and the indies spawned in the 2000s. Of course, as Cody Rhodes pointed out in what would be his farewell speech in AEW in 2022, Punk talked a great game, but never created the kind of revolution that he said he craved when he was free of WWE. Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks did with the original All In, providing a proof of concept for Tony Khan to launch AEW in 2019. Khan wanted Punk at the outset, but Chicago's own was playing coy, waiting for AEW to prove themselves to him sufficiently. It took another 2 years, but Punk finally signed on, for gazillions of dollars and a lot of control over his programs, of course. When Punk's problems with the Elite spilled out of control in the summer of 2022, culminating by completely emasculating Khan at the most disrespectful press scrum in human history, Punk threw the biggest punch that WWE's fiercest competitor in 2 decades had ever taken. He followed that up with a passive-aggressive run in 2023 that inevitably culminated in a backstage brawl with Jack Perry at the next All-In that finally resulted in his firing. Having done more damage to the company that created the revolution that he always said he wanted than everyone else in the human race put together, Punk culminated his 2023 not merely by jumping back to WWE, but by all accounts, exploiting his connections with Warner Brothers Discovery to try to have Raw usurp all of AEW's programming with the company. Could anyone have possibly believed at the time of Punk's infamous shoot interview with Colt Cabana that a decade later he would be widely viewed as one of the greatest corporate stooges that the Fed ever had? We'll know shortly just how successful his apparent revenge ploy was and what kind of damage it will do to the overall health of the industry. Thank you for joining us for this mini episode of the FDH Lounge.